Hey guys, doing another NFC East 3-round mock draft. Max Chadwick alongside Dalton Wasserman here, doing the Dallas Cowboys. Haven't really been the best season for the Cowboys. We're going to try to help fix them right now using the PFF Mock Draft Simulator. You can find it, of course, at PFF.com. And with a PFF Plus subscription, you get access to all 7 rounds of the mock draft as well. If you can draft for your team, for your rival team, for all 32 NFL teams if you want. Full 7 rounds. You can trade picks, can trade players as a part of it as well. Everything you want to do in the PFF Mock Draft Simulator is possible. Go to PFF.com and start off with your PFF Plus subscription today. Let's start off with the Dallas Cowboys, Dalton. 13th overall in the NFL draft. Let's start off with the mock draft. We're not trading any picks right now. We're going to keep Dallas where they are and operate with the picks they have right now. So let's start off with, and just look at who's available. Ashton Jeanty's gone.
It looks like there's a notable name not available there.
Ashton Jeanty is gone. He went pretty high.
Wow, that's a wild scenario.
Yeah.
The simulator threw the biggest curveball. They threw a Sandy Koufax curveball at us.
Can you imagine?
Jeanty going second. My word. Okay.
All right.
Well, we have to live with what we have.
Can you imagine Vegas takes Jeanty at number 2?
Oh, it would be insane.
They'd be rioting. I think the fans in Vegas would riot.
They need a quarter. But you know what? There's a world, apparently,
of course,
where the simulator thinks it can happen, so we go with it. All right, so I think the theme here, though, is, okay, let's say it's not second overall, but what if Ashton Jeanty were not on the board? Because that's the guy that everybody's been linking to Dallas, and what if they have to go elsewhere? Now, all of a sudden, well, we start to think about those things, right, just in case. What if a team trades ahead of Dallas, just like with Jonathan Brooks last year, what Carolina did when Jerry Jones pretty much announced to the world that he's going to take Jonathan Brooks, and then Carolina jumped him, right? So I think this is a scenario that we do have to think about. If Jeanty's not on the board, or if they just don't feel like going running back that high, what would they do? So I think now we have an interesting debate.
I think I like a player here, and tell me if I'm wrong. I like Luther Burden a lot to Dallas.
Ooh, see, ow.
Dude, I think their offense is so centered around CeeDee Lamb right now. They need something else.
It is, but it also, to me, doesn't offer them any balance. I think we've got a couple of trench scenarios here with a couple of guys near Burden on the board there. And I think, first of all, Kelvin Banks Jr. is an interesting one to me.
Oh, he is available. I didn't see that. Yeah,
look, Terrence Steele's really struggled at right tackle. Correct me if I'm remembering this wrong. Tyler Guyton, wasn't he a right tackle at Oklahoma, and they moved him to left tackle?
Yeah.
What if you took Guyton and you moved him back to the right side, and you found a way to offload Terrence Steele, and now you've got Kelvin Banks on the left side shoring up the offensive line?
Yeah.
Or third guy, interesting to me, Nick Scorton, who's a primetime run defender, who they need badly. They have no depth on the edge now with Parsons. He was hurt most of the year, but you still have Parsons. And DeMarcus Lawrence is getting older, and he's had some injuries this year. Scorton might also be a guy. You need to run and stop the run to me. You have to get better at those two things if you're Dallas. And I think those two players help them. Burden's great, don't get me wrong. But I do think he kind of fits in. He's kind of similar-ish to CeeDee Lamb, isn't he?
The reason why I said Burden is because I actually started my own mock draft simulator, just have it on my computer, and Scorton and Banks were gone in this mock draft. So I wasn't looking at the actual screen.
And this is where the simulator.
Good catch by you.
That's why it's so much fun to run the simulator over and over and over, because you can get all these scenarios. Like me personally, in this spot, I'd be shocked if Kelvin Banks fell this low. I think that's where I would go.
Yes,
they need offensive line help. There's a ton of good running backs in this draft they can find later. There's always good receivers you can find later, but they need primetime trench guys. I would go on the offensive side with Kelvin Banks.
I think Kelvin Banks is going to be potentially a top 5 pick in the NFL draft. Right. I think he's OT1 in the NFL draft, and I think Dallas could use that. I know they spent some resources on it before, and Tyler Guyton, obviously, but Kelvin Banks is a prime time talent. I think he really is. So I think I would take Kelvin Banks here. I think
go with Banks. We'll put Banks at left tackle and move Guyton back to right tackle, which might just be his more natural position. That's what he played at Oklahoma.
This is why you and I are a team right now, Don, because I would have not even seen that Kelvin Banks was on the board. That would have been a all-time miss by me if I missed that.
Slow down. You have to breathe in the war room. You have to slow down and look at all your options.
Of course.
That's the thing in drafts, though. Usually there's multiple options that make sense, and you just have to justify why you're taking that guy, right? So I think if he ever fell to them, it'd be an absolute steal for sure.
So Kelvin Banks are going there, which actually works out for us, Dalton, because here in the second round, we didn't take the edge defender, and we got some really good edge defenders available.
Options.
Percy Monmielen, Ashton Gelati, Kyle Kennard is available to us as well. If we want to go the running back route, there's some good running backs available as well. Travion Henderson and Dylan Sampson, obviously, as well. I kind of lean edge. I kind of lean. I would have liked the D tackle here, but it really isn't one that I love that's available to us right now. So I lean edge, and you mentioned the run defending aspect. Gelati would fit that really well for them. I like Oman Mielen, though, a lot. Donovan Ezeraku has had a really, really good year.
Great year, and he can stand up, too. I think that's a thing in this defense where they have edge defenders standing up. The two guys that actually – and I love Ashton Gelati. You know, I think he's a great football player. But the two guys that stand out to me for this defense, for Mike Zimmer's defense, are Princely at the top there, and you just mentioned Ezeraku. I think one of those two guys is a guy with the ability to rush from a two-point stance like Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence do. I think that's a natural fit if that's where you're going to go. I would probably go Princely. I think he's a potential first-round pick. If they were to get him at 45 here, be a fantastic value. We've seen it for 3 years between Florida and Ole Miss. He's a terrific pass rusher, especially when he gets to stand up and use his length from a two-point stance.
Yeah, let's go with Princely Oman Mielen. I think that is absolutely a terrific pick there. I think he's a guy, like you said, could go in the first round. He's had a hell of a year for Ole Miss going in from Florida. I think Princely Oman Mielen is a really good pick there. All right, third round here, 77 overall. Some interesting players here available, Dalton. I'm kind of looking at it right now. Some tight ends available. We got Eli Stowers.
Some players in the secondary, aren't there? I mean, Ransom, Hairston. Yeah. I see Nicky Manwari down there is a really good player. Some people think you go higher than that. You could double up on the defensive line.
I was just going to say Derek Harmon. I think Derek Harmon's going to a lot higher than where
one of the best interior pass rushers in the country this year. I don't think Tate Ratledge is a bad pick either. Honestly, if we think,
double up an offensive line then, yeah.
Well, with this injury to Zach Martin,
could be career ending.
If Zach Martin's career is over, and we're not trying to speculate too much here, but if that's a possibility, I think Tate Ratledge might be a natural fit. You could get a round 3 starter and at least a really good pass protector in Tate Ratledge too. I mean, that would be something that I think hangs over in the early rounds of this draft. Is we made it already with the Banks pick. Do you round out this offensive line, and then you have a solid 5: Banks, Tyler Smith at left guard, Cooper Beebe, who's had a decent year at center. And then you go Tate Ratledge and Tyler Guyton. It's a young offensive line, but we've seen the Cowboys do this before where they put together back in the early days of Zach Martin, right, and Travis Frederick and all those guys when they had that young offensive line that became an elite unit. I don't think it's a terrible idea.
I don't think so either. I'm just looking at the interior defensive line for Dallas right now because that is definitely a big need for them.
It's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, Mozzie Smith, just let's face it, has not worked out well. He was a first-round pick for them a couple years ago. He's just not played well in his first 2 years in the NFL. Oza Digizua has been a solid player for them. I don't know. I kind of like the Derek Harmon pick.
The only thing for me, does Harmon – they have issues in run defense, in part because the Mozzie Smith pick hasn't panned out. Is Harmon – do we think he's – I mean, it's the third round, so we're taking talent anyway, right? And I think Harmon, to me, at Oregon leans more towards being a pass rusher. Now, having an interior pass rusher is great.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
He's been good. He's been good enough in run D, I think.
Is that a guy, do we think – is he going to be good enough in run D to substantially improve their defensive line possibly?
I think he could be. I think he's played well enough in run D this year. I mean, if you click on the grading profile, I think it's been...
I don't hate it at all. Any help we get for the Cowboys in the trenches on either side, I don't hate it. There's a theme here, obviously, when we get to the end of this third pick, if we go with this, where it's like, hey, the Cowboys need help, O-line, D-line, and everybody knows it, right? It's you can make an entire 7-round Cowboys draft probably with trench picks, and it would make sense.
So you see right there, I mean, the run defense grades are above average, well above average. They're not elite like the pass rushing numbers you see right there. So... It's a good conversation to have because I think that is something that needs is help in the run defense. But I do think that
such a good pass rusher too.
He's a good pass rusher. I like Harmon or Ratledge here. I'm between those two. So whoever you,
I could take Harmon here for the talent on the inside, and then because again, even so, if we picked Banks, we have 4 of the 5 spots on the offensive line locked down. We could find a guard in free agency, or we could find another one maybe in the next round if a Ratledge or somebody, or even his teammate Dylan Fairchild, maybe somebody like that at guard. You can find guards, right? I think I could reason with the Harmon pick too, but the theme here with this draft for sure, we got to get better up front on both sides.
Absolutely.
And if it doesn't happen, then you're going to be stuck in the same cycle if you're Dallas.
So we're taking Derek Harmon here to the Dallas Cowboys at 77 overall in the draft, and that wraps up our 3-round mock draft for the Dallas Cowboys, getting Kelvin Banks Jr., Princely Oman Mielen, and Derek Harmon. Beef after beef after beef in the trenches for Dallas Cowboys, which they really need help in the trenches right now. So going really hard at the line of scrimmage for the Dallas Cowboys in this 3-round mock draft. Let us know in the comments below what you would do for the Dallas Cowboys in the mock draft. And let us know what you would do for your favorite teams using the PFF Mock Draft Simulator. Again, available at pff.com with your PFF Plus subscription. So we've got for the Dallas Cowboys, we've got more mock drafts for every single team, including the NFC East, wrapping it up with the Eagles and Commanders coming out very soon.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you like and subscribe the video. And if you don't have a PFF Plus subscription, you can get one to see all the premium stats that we talked about here on the show, plus the expert betting and fantasy advice over at subscribe.pff.com. The description is also right below, so if you are not a PFF Plus subscriber, you can become one today.